and Commissioner Santos, and Commissioner Peter Roy Martinez is excused. Okay, there are no approval of minutes yet. Our staff is working diligently on both, the one for November, our special meetings, and the other November meeting. So that'll be up the next meeting. Do we have anybody from the public? Okay. Huh? What? Yeah. No, we're not public. Miguel, you're up first. We did your GM report, and I'm sorry, two commissioners, I must apologize. We're going to work better on how we do our meeting with, people doing Zoom or doing, I'm sorry. Yeah. We got to tell our staff, we got to do better at that.
You kind of need to have almost two screens, so you can, like when he's raising his hand.
Yeah. So I can see somebody. So I can see somebody out there. Okay, so, but the GM report for GWA we already went through. Are you guys satisfied with that? Or
We were here on the working session for GWA.
Oh, that's
it was just GPA.
Okay. Oh, the GPA one. Yeah. Okay, so the financials we're fine on. Let's go straight to the business. Resolution. Miguel, your first resolution.
First resolution is number 08-FY 2023. Mr. Chair, and this is with regard to amending the GWA sewer hookup revolving loan rules and regulations. As discussed during the work session, this is a result of two things, primarily the completion of the septic tank elimination analytical study and the recommendations contained therein, and also funding that was appropriated by the last legislature to provide additional funds to put into this revolving loan fund. In short, the main issues in the revisions to the rules would be to increase the maximum loan amount from $9,000 to $25,000 per applicant. That still needs to be corrected. Sorry about that on the justification sheet. Increase the loan term from 10 years to 15 years for applicants receiving public assistance. To waive requirements for three contractor estimates if the sewer connection is part of a GWA capital improvement project. To decrease or remove the requirement to have declined loan applications from two banks if the applicant is receiving public assistance, and then provide additional funding for the revolving loan fund as described, and also to defer payments for 5 years should customers be willing to connect to the sewer main when it's built, as opposed to waiting the 5 years allowed by statute. Okay. So those are the major changes. We've, as I mentioned, tied the interest rate to the USDA home loan interest rates to be more consistent with market conditions. And as I mentioned, we are also intending to add the additional $2 million that was appropriated into the fund to make this more useful and get more customers taking advantage of the program to connect to the existing sewers. Some other recommendations are included in the from the analytical study were included in the justification that affect this. This will include public outreach efforts, engineering consultation and assistance for the requirements to construct in accordance with GWA standards, owner contractor construction permitting assistance and streamlining, and also licensed and qualified contractor lists to be provided so that the connecting customers know who is licensed to conduct such work. The estimated cost for this, as I mentioned, we want to take advantage of the $2 million that was appropriated by the fiscal year 23 Budget Act, put into the revolving loan fund, and we are still looking at other potential funding sources for future additions to the fund, including US EPA grants and other grant sources.
Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second? Second, Commissioner Sanchez. Any questions? I have one.
The AAA.
Yeah. No, I only have really one question. What Remind me, what triggers somebody? Is it you or GEPA, Guam EPA?
To
You know,
connect to the
when
existing,
you have a house and you have your sewer line close to the house, within 200 feet, right?
right.
What triggers it? You know, do you send a letter out? Does Guam EPA send a letter out? Or that's not worked out
I'm not
yet?
familiar with what Guam EPA's processes are, but what we have been doing is trying to prioritize areas where we know we have issues with nitrates in the water wells and the septic tanks.
Okay.
Not in areas where we also have existing sewer. And then using smoke testing to identify the customers, verify which customers are connected and which ones aren't, and then working with Guam EPA to come up with a list for their enforcement act.
And the reason why I bring that up is, you know, this made the news and everybody knew about it and everybody's excited. And I got a call from a customer. And I referred that to our general managers tonight. I say, hey, I got a call from somebody. Can you call him back? You work out whatever. So, you know, obviously some people are excited and want to get off their septic tank because they have to pump it every once in a while and want to get on the sewer line. So that's why I was asking what triggers it, so that, you know, I envision you're going to have some people who don't want to do it, even if you give them a loan. Yeah, right. Okay. Now, some people who don't want to do it. You have some people who want to do it for other reasons, you know. And maybe they have an apartment building or something and they want to hook up because they want, you know, good service. So whatever, I'm just saying, be prepared for the barrage of the people who want to do it, for you to say, wait, I have a priority. You're not around my well. You're way out in Timbuktu and there's sewer line, but, okay, Commissioner Sanchez.
I was thinking of what, not like we're doing 1,000.
Yeah, that's right.
It's being turned into areas near our wells. The situation with Senator Biscoe looking at legislation, and there was actually a lot of good back and we almost got there, but then
Yeah,
you know, some of the opposition
yeah,
I like about this program. First off, I don't question there's a nitrate issue. I trust GPWA, Weary. There's a lot of people saying we at least need to be concerned about it.
yes.
And if you're going to err on the side of risk, I'd rather err on the side of, anything near a well that we're going to become concerned about, the primary, source of our water. Let's err on the side of protecting aquifer. And maybe we only make 80, 90 loans or whatever, whenever this money runs out. It's almost like a little test program. We're going to try it. Just like you said, we're going to try it. And okay, Mr. Sanchez, you're near well 12 and showing some nitrate level. And hopefully, it's a positive response. We feel you need to do this. We can do it and kind of force you to do it, but maybe we can collaborate. But to me, it's kind of a test for how we begin our best efforts to migrate people
Yes,
connected to
sure.
sewer
Yes.
in a conventional
I agree.
way. And maybe this term we can chat a little more about resurrecting efforts that Senator Biscoe started, where there's some other technologies that might work better than septic, cheaper than running 100 feet to the newest sewer line, and yet we're finding out there may be a gap in law and rules and regs that allow that to be a choice. And so we want to maybe revive that and see with GPWA and our other colleagues, and then maybe find a champion in the legislature, at least to put it out there, so we can continue the conversation, because it is a very important conversation. It is a risk management, and there's a lot of, I believe, professional consensus on our side saying we need to worry about rising nitrates, especially near wells. Recognize there's a cost challenge for sewer hookups. This is one way to do it.
One way to do
There
it.
may be other ways to mitigate the cost aspect of it. We can explore and create opportunities where it's not so expensive with this alternative technology. And so, to me, let's take this small
This
step.
is a good first
Let's
step.
just take this.
I agree.
It'll be kind of a test of concept, and then somehow we can raise some more money, maybe development charge where it's XOL. I don't know, but that's
no,
what we
I'm
have
with
Miguel
you.
for. Just think those through figure out best use of funds, right?
Yeah.
Approaches. But this would give both Miguel and the other players like GPWA tool to explore how many of us, and many of people in Miguel's profession believe would be better way to protect the aquifer near wells at risk. Right? And let's try it and see, like you said, if the way we do it makes people not want to do it, then we can think about it.
Yeah.
If we find there's a lot of willingness, or extend the term, forgive the pain, play with it.
No,
Where,
I don't have a problem.
Eventually we get Mr. Sanchez on that sewer line in an affordable way, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we're near high nitrate areas, but no, whatever. There's a tool.
I know.
That's why I like it.
Your nitrates are going out into EPO.
No, but, I like that. That's a good thing to do. That's a good thing to do. And, I'm just giving you one example. Somebody called me up and said, hey, sign me up. And I'm saying, wait. And I said, I'm going to give your name to the general manager. He'll have somebody will call you and explain what we're at. And, it may not be at the top of the list.
But Miguel, maybe think about it. You can give us feedback at the next month. But if you think that strategy that we were working towards, Senator Biscoli, is still viable, put that on our list of things to think about. And in this session, things we can. They can hear me. They don't listen. They don't listen to me anyway. But let's. This is part of that puzzle.
Okay. Is any further discussion? No? Ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries with 4 aye votes. Okay, Miguel, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to ask the AGM of administration to go through the next resolution.
Miguel. Next issue for decision is GWA Resolution Number 09-FY 2023, relative to the creation of the engineer intern unclassified position and amendments to the engineering series and approval of position classification specifications. This resolution has two main objectives. The first one is to create the engineer intern position, which does not exist right now. Previously, we've been hiring interns under an engineer tech position. So this will fix that issue, and the engineer will have a position classification that relates to the job duties that they have. The second reason is to amend all the existing engineering positions in the series, and there's several reasons for that. The first is to improve recruitment. Our current position classifications require a degree from an ABET accredited college. University of Guam has yet to receive its ABET accreditation. Some of our competitors that are taking engineers from the community do not require ABET certified degrees, just degrees in the engineering field. So we wanted to remove that requirement from all of our position classifications. Next reason that we wanted to do it is that our engineering program has evolved significantly and required a review of the existing duties and responsibilities, more properly align them with the positions in the series. And then lastly, there was a technical correction where we needed to approve the position class for the senior engineer PE position. Back when it was created in 2010, it was created in the resolution, but there was not a created, and so just to fix that issue, we needed to also include that in the resolution. The resolution will also allow the general manager to remove any duplicate or obsolete engineering positions from the series. And then upon approval of the creation and the amendments, GWA will conduct a timely reclassification audit on current employees. Determination of audit findings shall not adversely affect impacted employees. Lastly, there was some questions about how the GWA engineering positions compared to both. That information was emailed out today. I'm not sure if you had an opportunity to review it, but the GPA and the GWA positions are very closely aligned as far as the pay scales. There's hardly any difference. On the NAVFAC side, the starting pay or the minimum pay range is about $15,000 above where we're at, and then the maximum ranges are way higher, but that's because I think they have a lot more leeway with how they recruit, and they have set their ranges quite wide, so that when the applications come in, they have the flexibility to go higher if they need to.
Oh, yeah. I like the fact that when you sent us the comparison with NAFAC and GPA,
Yep.
we're all in the same ballpark, you know? Yeah, all the people, so that says that we're paying our people, we're attracting them, and we're retaining them, so that's a good thing, and we need to keep doing that, so the updated study will be good from our consultant, the one we're coming up with.
The piece that isn't reflected here is the locality pay and the COLA. So that's in addition to the salaries that you see here
That's for NAFAC.
for NAFTA.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah,
in looking at, looking at
Go
the
ahead.
table, that's just the salary that doesn't include benefits? On the scale that you gave us?
the one for NAFAC.
Well, these are just salaries. Even on the GWA, GPA positions, that's just the base salary.
Okay.
But a
But
NAFAC,
NAFAC also includes a COLA and a locality pay.
25% COLA.
Health insurance.
Good deal. Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
I mean, I'm just curious, and I've always been an advocate of, you want higher pay, you gotta work at the pleasure of the general manager. Is that something you guys wanna entertain?
If they're,
It just gives you, I mean, I'm looking at just pay in general for engineers. It's gonna be tough to compete when our starting salary is 51, 52, and a NAFAC position is 68. Can you compete with that? I mean, jeez. And,
do you have flexibility though, when you're hiring the junior, the
experience.
engine? Oh, okay,
A lot of what's happening to us now is that the engineers are retiring early or.
to go over to the other side. Yeah, yeah,
That's all I can do that.
because these are classified positions anyway, right?
yeah.
I don't know about the military.
No, on our side, they're
us.
classified, so he's sort of stuck a little bit on what he can do.
Because then we minimum the skills are all CPG.
Yeah, I would
It has to be a global scenario.
Yeah.
Because again, this hiring, NAFAC has been hiring and then not hiring, if you will.
Yeah, but they
It's
go
the
up and
nature of
down
the
like.
role.
Yeah.
So, the last thing I would like to do is try to offset the internal balances that are here.
Yeah.
I think you're not able to hire engineers from the chief, if you hire several already, maybe 4, 5, 6 engineers from the chief.
Yeah, this will help with that, and I think the approach that we're taking with making adjustments, the study will provide some recommendation to counter the effects of the additional benefits that have. So we're moving in the right direction, but we'll have a ways.
But I'm sorry, is GovWam ever gonna talk to each other? I mean, we have no engineers at GDOE. Imagine that.
I don't even think you
The
have.
largest facility on Guam with no engineers.
So the
Yeah.
program is such a bit that they only have civil engineers. We have where we can send them. We have sorted that in the not too distant future, but we're also working on a program to get training where there's constantly the EIP training. The first step is getting our engineers to pass the EIP exam. Now or not later, right? Because later it gets
Harder and harder.
harder and harder. But then the second part is having a regular training on the professional engineering portion of the exam. So therefore, encouraging them to make it happen. The third portion is having and I'm not sure if that's what's done in the senior PE level. Anyone that receives a PE now gets what you call a supplemental or a pay. No matter
Differential.
what position is at within the agency, when there's a 2, 3, so that we don't turn it upside down again. They get a
No.
what you call it, not a bonus, but a part of
Little
the
differential.
compensation, getting
An additional,
additional for
yeah,
being a PE.
okay.
that, probably we can encourage more and more engineers to get, but the training ground for PEs here, other than that fact, which is, that's really us, PEs, and this is all in one. So we can, all these young engineers, the CA are very passionate about trying to get their PE as soon as possible. So we're gonna lay out the compensation and take advantage of that passion for that right now.
Okay.
So, that's all we can do, and I haven't come back. I've known about this, but I can't come back yet and say, okay, give me $40,000 so I can hold to that, because it's like that's a losing battle.
Yeah, you're plugging holes. You're not really solving it.
Do you motion yet? Not yet.
No, nobody's.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Second, Commissioner Sanchez? Okay. Any further discussion? Oh, Commissioner Chaco.
So, I saw the write-up, Chris, on how you compared the different salary ranges for the engineers. So the only change is just the engineer intern that you're proposing, the salary range? This is the only additional?
That's correct. All the other salaries are the same.
They're the same. So, but the analysis, how did you determine the intern rate? How did you back into it?
No, it was sent to our compensation consultant, and then he reviewed the proposed classification, and then he gave it a job evaluation points, and then it gets given a grade and a step based on that.
But is this a true intern position? Mean they haven't actually received their bachelor's degree, or?
Yes. Well, they could have their bachelor's and be pursuing a master's.
Okay.
Based on the position classification, but they can also be in the middle of their bachelor's degree.
And the intern position is a full-time position?
No, it's for a certain period of time, usually over the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unclassified. I don't believe there's any benefits. There's no benefits with the position as well.
So it's really an hourly position then?
Correct.
Okay. And those hours are not a full like 20/80. It's whatever that work they're performing as an intern. Because I was just concerned with the min-max ranges for the annual salary. It almost implied as though they were full-time, and I've never known an intern to necessarily be a full-time employee.
No, it's usually how many weeks do we? It's up to 12 weeks.
Up to 12 weeks, okay.
What we've done with that is similar to what we've done. It's very, depending on what level, what year they are in the education. First year gets a certain percentage, let's say engineer one, second year gets a percent. So then, at the higher the level, the higher they get the eight station.
Right.
So they so again, it's like similarly, we found that to be successful. Having them come in the summer instead of working on flood. Obviously not that close. So when we can work on like the honors and whatever, they come and work with us, and then we found that to attract them. Come back because there's no post. I think that's similarly what's happening.
We've also had discussions with UOG about starting up, doing a cooperative education program where they would work for us and get credit, but we're still exploring the difficulties of how we might do that, because that adds additional responsibilities on whoever the supervisor is, and requires certain things have to be covered. But if we could make it work, it would be a good feeder program to get them started. They could do, instead of just the summer, they could do summer, work a semester. Take
go to
classes
school.
a semester, then come back and work for a semester, get credit, and then earn. And then that gives them additional experience that once they do graduate, then they can feed right into a more senior positions. Something that we're looking at and we're discussing, but we haven't worked out the bugs yet. But we're trying to.
And I like what Dave said, because we also have something where we can send someone to school. That could be part of the solution, because again, I do supervise us with civil engineers, and there's only so much that we do. So what's happening in that is we've had engineers come on board, chemical engineer, if you will, work on the mechanical engineer, and then do the PE exam for mechanical, and became a PE mechanical. And by the way, I'm most certainly lady. So, but again, you can do that maybe the last 2 years, unless we're designing the 1-to-3 ratio. We're okay. So we have a program like that, and maybe that's something we're gonna have to look at to try and.
Program still alive?
The Protect, the university, the Protect scholarship.
It is.
Okay. Yeah, that was
We have to work on the.
baby boomers are leaving.
There's 2/3 on that side.
Hey. You want the other side?
66% on that side? Dang.
And over here.
This side much lower.
Okay, any further questions? No? Ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries with 4 aye votes. And is that it for you,
That's
Miguel?
it, sir.
Okay, John.
No executive session?
We're
At
saying
the
at
end,
the end.
we'll put it at the end.
Great.
We're going to give John a chance to get out of here. Yeah, hopefully. I don't know.
Yeah, I can tell you about my lunch with Hogan.
I will tell you about it. It's not, it has nothing to do with the executive session, but I'll fill you in. We won't take long.
We'll have the vice chairman. Okay. Can
John's
you sign
fast.
the resolutions for Peterway?
Government's done Yeah. Yes, I can sign.
Yes.
All right.
Easier than running DOE? This is easier than running.
You have to do a GM report?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Okay. Here you go. Okay.
You're a veteran. You know how to do it.
Okay. Yeah. You're on the green side. John?
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, good evening. Just 5 resolutions tonight for yourself. The first one is Resolution 2023-07. And this is related to the cancellation of the Cabras 41 megawatt reserve facility. As the Commission is well aware, we had to proceed to try to get legislation for an exception to construct the facility about within 1,200 feet of the Jose Rios Middle School. And again, the legislative approval had to be done by March 31st, 2022. Unfortunately, it didn't happen until April 11 of 2022. The March 31st was the red line, meaning quotations and everything would have gone up after that date, and therefore Tucson couldn't hold that price after that date. So with discussion negotiation with Tucson, with GUP, whose subcontractor is Tucson, price went from 58 million to 98 million, which is over 40%. Now, I could understand that because of course, the huge supply chains, the COVID impacts, and all of that in the States. So therefore, even if we were to, I didn't have any leverage at all to bring down that cost. No?
It's too expensive.
And so therefore, the property already is rezoned so that we can do it as if we need to in the future. It's no use going out for a bid on that now because again prices are still high. So if we really need to do that again, is really in exchange to retire other units, we will look at that
Cross
down
that
the
bridge
road.
later.
Yeah. So again, we will save. Again, we had committed $2 million a year on fixed costs and variable costs. We will save on that, and then there will be a credit of a little less than 58 million for some work that have been done already. For the facility, the testing, and all of that. But then that will reduce our capacity fee payment.
Credit back to us. Right?
Credit back to us. No? So again, that's resolution number one, and if I really agree, or if you will, but the lenders of sure are risk averse, and they wanna get the CCU and the PUC
They don't
to
want to force us
bless.
to pay 98 million?
And again, they're the same ones that were risk averse, that said you gotta say that the lease agreement, is was okay for Ukudu and all of that. So
Who are their lenders? Do you know?
I'm not. I can get the information, but I don't. Yeah,
Consortium.
the consortium.
There's no lead bank. Is there a lead bank?
Motion to approve, is there a second?
This is a lead bank, which is lent before to some of the solar people.
Excellent. Okay.
Okay, there's a
Move to approve,
motion?
Mr. Chairman.
No, a motion already made
Oh,
by,
I'm sorry. Okay. You go.
okay. Did you get that? Okay. Further discussion? Sure.
I have some
Commissioner
questions.
Menchaca.
So
Sure.
John, so the proposal included the 41 megawatts. I understand the logic on, not moving forward with requiring the contractor to build this because it's at an increased cost to us because we didn't meet a deadline. But what happens to the existing agreement that required them to provide the capacity? We have to adjust it
We
because
adjusting the capacity fee to remove the original cost for the standby generators within it.
right.
So
It's-
we'll be providing the reserves for that facility now. And part of that reason was because to get the minor source permitting, even if we had left the facility together, we couldn't run. You could have run it for the 1 month of overhaul, but for the rest of the year, you couldn't run it efficiently, and therefore we would have cost you a lot of money to do that. So to stay below the minor source permitting and get this thing constructed as soon as possible, that's what had to be done. So there is still a 25 megawatt battery, although the storage is not as long, but that would help. And then we will have to supply what you call, if the plant were to black out, then we will have to supply energy from Dededo or Machechi or Sampere for the system. But again, not the plant blacking out, but the whole island blacking out. Then we will have to start, whereas before they could have started themselves. No? So that's the difference is that we made an adjustment on the total price, no, what we have to pay.
And then what about their requirements to, for uptime, right? Obviously, they have to take units down for maintenance.
Yep.
And they were relying on that 41 meg, right, to kind of fill the gap while they did that.
Right.
What happens now?
We will fill the gap with the rest of the machines. No, MEC 89, the 200 megawatts that we have. No, because we haven't decided at this point yet which machines are going to retire. No, we do it except for Campus 1 and 2. The rest of the machines we'll take a look at a closer point in time, which are the more costly, which is the ones that we could keep for a longer period of time, because we're still going to need that reserve, about 200 megawatts of reserve for the 30 days that happens in overhaul once every 4 years. We also could offset that amount of reserve of 200 once we get phase 4 commissioning, no?
These for renewables?
Renewables with batteries, and run that for about a year or two so that we know the intricacies of what part of that 180 megawatt, if you will, is we could consider and comfortably consider as firm power, no? So that will be over the next few years once we do that, no? And then that will help you retire again some of the other units as we go forward. But the under 98, we'll always, after we put renewables, the under 98 will back off. We may eventually just run two combustion turbines and still maintain the high efficiency, things like that. So we wanted, instead of the 56 megawatt that they had there, really didn't do much other than they weren't even tied into the system or could have been dispatched into the system. That's why we agreed to a 41 megawatt that we can dispatch. So the alternative to the 41 is rehabilitating more, again, the 40 megawatts Greco units, relocating 6 to Umadak. The rest maybe we'll put down there or put it on Anderson Air Force Base. So we have alternatives that we have to look. So that's 40 megs. The 1 megawatt machine, we bought it like 6-7 years ago, but we can zero them out and keep them as reserve. And by the way, they do get started from the dispatch also. It's just that instead of 39 we were going to have 14, no? For about the same capacity, but the efficiency, they're a little more efficient, the 41, but not that much more. So there's that.
So, if I'm catching you right, the economics, unfortunately, we lose because the price is almost double, right? But I think I'd heard you say in separate presentations that one idea is now that legally actually we can use cameras in a slightly different way now. We've got the smaller gens that once Ukudu is up, you can kind of move them around because you have the primary mover up at Ukudu actually increases the flexibility for you with the other units we already own. It would have been nice at the price we got. Right. It would have been nice to get the 40 megs, but kind of like NG, the delay took so long they couldn't hold it. So, but down the road this gave us greater flexibility, right? Yeah. And it gave us an opportunity to retire if we wanted to records, but they're not that old, and we can move them around, which was always been. I've always understood that was part of your thinking too, is to move them around, more power to the south. That was the whole idea of getting the law changed. So
we're just going to have to depend on them more, no? And then 8 and 9, of course, also is still the option you can look at.
Yeah, maybe 8 and 9. And 8 and 9 is very efficient for us. So maybe we just keep it longer, run it longer, because we already own it.
We evaluate all of that as we move forward. So the key here is that I don't recommend spending another 40 million on
just for these 40 megs.
The economics just went out, and I have no leverage to bring that. I cannot go out. I'm going to go out for a bid. When I go out for a bid, the prices are still high. Yeah. I know the results already now. So that's averaging $2,400 a kilowatt. Because this plant will probably be built for about 1,000 to 1,500 a kilowatt.
Yeah.
So that's very expensive.
But no other concessions have been made regarding the agreement and their requirement to produce the power.
No, that's just the cost, 58, which would not have been there if we didn't, eliminate it. We would have paid that and get the 56, which would have been in the power plant, but it really doesn't synchronize into the system. So it's not like we could use it as we had been planning to use the 41
down at Cabot.
We need it, boom, it comes right out, synchronized into the system, it takes care. The other one, no, it's more like a backup to Ukudu. So the backup to Ukudu now will be the machines that we have around. We've been very good in, so far in not having blackout, no? And so if we did get blackout, we're very good also in returning from a blackout. Our record now is like 3.5 hours. Now everybody's back. So I don't see that anymore as a big risk.
When was our last island-wide blackout?
2012, 2013.
2013.
10 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why you have those short interruptions. It just dumps a few circuit. Then we start up the other machines and 10 to 15 minutes, everyone back. The sacrifice.
So do we need to vote on it, Mr.?
Yeah.
Already ready.
No, any more questions? No more questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries with 4 aye votes, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Resolution number 2023-08 related to revision of the line extension policy. Right now, if a customer hooks, puts investment into more than, I'd say, something just more than one pole extension to get power to the energy, they could get credited by anyone hooking up to that line that they put in within a 5-year period, no? And all of that. We're asking to extend that to like a 15-year period, so then they allow, a very spurt more customers in areas further away, especially if there's been a subdivision that's been put in. If you put that first line in, then others will build. No, so again, if you build it, they will come, right? And I don't know how true, but again, we're trying, and so again, we did take a look at some questions from the last time. You're looking at about 14 that we have today, and if you look at the right, taken to the right, the end there, some are paying as much as $1,000. We've worked out a payment plan with them anywhere from 60 days to 5 years, so we're making it reasonable. At the same time, they get credit. They only get credited up to what they have invested. So again, this is what we have today, and paying and completing. You see there on the right side, those that have completed now. It's just the opportunity for them to get credited more over a longer period of time, because of course the investments that we're putting in are long, concrete poles that are lasting longer and all of that. And so the question last time was, of course, this was residential customers. We're not looking. I think even if it's there, we shouldn't be. I think we should just be applying the thing to the residential customers, because they're the ones that really are in pain on this. And so then the question also was, should we for those that are on the plan now, should we approve them in? I'm not against that, Commissioner. I mean, if that's what the commissioners wish, there's only about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, only about 9 or 10 left that are there.
And give them up to the 15th year.
Give them
also
up to the 50th year, like everybody, and it became simple. I can say this, I can answer you last time because I didn't know whether I had 50 or 100, but with only a few that are there. These are customers that invested and are putting in monthly payments in addition to So I'm fine with that also. It's really good for your consideration. So.
Okay. Is there a motion on this?
Motion approved, Mr. Chairman,
Motion to approve.
2308.
Second, Commissioner Santos. Any further discussion?
Just to follow up on the resolution, and John, if we're going to grandfather those in now, do we need to adjust the resolution, or did we put it in there already?
No, it's not there yet. Sorry, Graham. Do you remember? Did we put it there? No. I don't think we changed it, right?
We can pass this tonight, and then we can amend it, if that's what you're going to do. At least on a going forward basis, you can do everybody at 15. And if Graham says we better be legally sufficient, grandfather it, then we can add that to this. We can amend this resolution. You can write it, unless you can write it up now. What's your preference?
What's your preference then?
Existing and future.
Where are you? What line is that? Line 12? Line 12, it says to allow additional time for customers. Are you saying put the word any in?
Saying any customer, you could say
Existing,
existing or future customers, either way.
that's what I was thinking.
Okay, so,
Existing covers who's already here,
yeah,
who's already done it, who's already on that list.
why don't we do that?
Yeah, so do we need a motion?
You need a
Yes,
motion to
so-
amend?
So, motion to amend GPA resolution number FY 2023-09 to include.
08.
Oh, excuse me, 08.
Yeah.
To include
Online.
on line 12, let's see,
Existing and future, existing.
on line 12 to allow additional time for existing and future customers? Is that
That's the cleanest way to do it.
existing and future
Plus, it's a whereas
customers
anyway.
who pay for a line extension to be partially refunded if additional customers connect to the line extension within that period?
Second the motion to amend? Okay, any further discussion?
Yeah,
Okay,
just
on-
one
on the
other
amendment.
question.
Sure, go ahead, one
Oh,
more
yeah,
question,
do
go
we
ahead.
want to clear out the amendment? You want to
Well,
vote on the
no,
amendment
do the
first?
amendment, then
you
we'll do
can
the
ask
as
the question now, then we'll,
Okay, so who triggers the credits? Does a customer have to say, hey, I just noticed someone connected to the line, or is this done by GPA?
Engineering.
Keeps
So
track of it.
engineering will,
But the customer, we always advise the customer to keep an eye.
Mhm.
Because, you know, he is down the street and somebody's hooking up, then he should really check with GPA. But
Hmm.
when it's stacked in our system.
The new applicant comes in, they say, hey, you're on this new line, then
Yeah.
you know that.
Yeah, so but then the customer also has could come in. But then we have credited several customers already. So it's just part of an SOP.
okay. Now, on the amendment, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Santos? Oh, okay. So that
On the
amendment
resolution as
is,
amended?
and then now on, that's 4 aye votes, on the main
Main
motion
as amended, yeah.
as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries with 4 aye votes again. Okay. John?
Great, thank you, Mr. Chair. What I have next is Resolution 2023-09, and this is relative to authorization of a PD 8 and 9 contract extension. Again, this contract was extended in 2019, mainly for, of course, the reason PD power plant is critical for the system and all of that. And of course, it was expected then that the new power plant will be on the line by October 2022. Unfortunately, due to many issues, COVID, permitting, supply chains, all these different reasons, it could not be completed by October, and then the permitting, it could not be done by October 2020. Like to do extension up to 2024. Again, the new power plan is April 2024. Box over the next several years. Commissioning of the new 180 megawatt, once the bids do come in and is awarded, will take at least another couple of years before we determine what is firm and can consider that before we start retiring other units. So, you know, I see this plan critical in providing service to GPA over the next for the island over the next several years. Most importantly, the next 3 to 5 years. But in my presentation tonight, after giving a summary that I did last week, I've added a summary also of what the there's two major significant things that PD 89 provides. No, one is that the cost comparison for fuel and O&M, if you add it all together, comes in around 15.5 cents a kilowatt hour in FY 2022. Cabras 1 and 2 was 18, and the other plants are 34. So again, reliability is the machine that, if it can run, is run all the time because of that, and it has been running. No, the extension that we're looking at, again, the only fee extension change is about 2.6%. on the fixed O&M and the variable O&M. And again, that's substantially less than inflation, no? Any new CIPs or major overhaul issues will be addressed just like the other machines on an annual basis that would be submitted to us. As part of the consent decree, we did put in a $14 million conversion from RFO to ultra-low sulfur diesel, which was done successfully. And again, they're going through the process of cleaning up what bugs there are within the system. In addition, they did put a new lubrication system as recommended and as we had approved, which dropped the projected from 3.2 million annually lube oil, cylinder lube oil. That means that machine cannot run, it has a lubricator for the pistons, no? So it's like a variable cost. If you run it, you're using it. If you're not, right? So about, for what it runs of about 600 million kilowatt hours per year, it's about 3.2 million. That has been reduced to approximately 1.6 now as a result of the new lubrication. However, with the new conversion to ultra-low sulfur diesel, as was noted, there will be additional operating costs. That's for an emulsifier that's provided for the machine, no? Again, to comply with the US EPA emission requirement. So that's like a $1.3 million per year additional cost. Because that's the savings from the lube oil itself has avoided that additional cost for us, still saving us more than $200,000 per year as a result of that effort. So really, it's a $200,000 difference, and although nothing's really changed in the agreement, it's not additional cost to the GPA. The plan is critical. Again, there's a difference between that plan and others. In the other plans is like similar, more like a PMC, and we have staff that will work with that PMC and make the operate and maintain the plan, and then the PMC helps us bring expertise, helps us procure other things and all of that. With this plan, we don't have any staff that will operate and maintain. PD, if you recall, Cabras 3 and 4, we had staff, and then we had a PMC there. And of course, we don't have Cabras 3 and 4 today, no? With this plan, they have full control over the plan, and so again, we needed the plan was we needed to extend it in 2018 so that we can again get to the point where we can get the new power plant and retire Cabras 1 and 2, and then again we're even considering them retiring P and 8. But if the US EPA would allow us to continue to burn RFO under PD, but then they require, it's a red line, you have to make the conversion if you want to continue to run it after April 2023, which we did, no? And the conversion was successfully done by MEC by September of this year, and so PD 8 and 9 has been running now on ultra-low sulfur diesel. So again, in the previous one, the extension was requested and approved by the PUC. I am here again saying, well, the plan has been extended until April 2024, most likely could be into 2025 before it really starts to be, bug free, if you will. And we have the issues of commissioning more renewables because we don't have the phase 3, and of course we don't Hanwha is still 10 years at this point. And I just they themselves are beginning to lose labor because, again, for the same reasons, the military, and of course their extension is only up to January 2024. So I'm asking the CCU if we can approve an extension of no more than the next 5 years, and allow us to have a seamless transition into the new power plant. and all of that, and then again subject to the PUC approval. No? So that's the summary. I don't think I need to say any more as to really how critical PD 8 and 9 is, and I need to really say that, you know, alternatives will be to try and go out and get this stuff, but as we all know, that's not an easy road, and as we all know, running a slow speed plan is not as simple as just running a PMC for a combustion turbine or other scenarios. So that's why I recommend that we extend the contract for another 5 years, and beyond that, we will know what will be the use of the future use of PD 8 and 9, and by that and before that point, we can bid out a new contract, that will relate now to the future use, which will be providing the reliability, but not as critical as before. But it still could play a major role because there's still 16 kilowatt hour, above 16 kilowatt hours per gallon. It's still going to be the only second cheapest thing in this scenario. So, okay. Provide a lot of information, Mr. Chairman, so I'm open to questions.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve Resolution 2023-09 to the PD 8-9 contract extension.
Is there a second? Okay.
Just a quick.
No, wait, before you start. I don't know if you heard the discussion at the working session.
We were able to hear everything. You just couldn't hear us.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that you're aware, Commissioner Santos brought up an issue.
Yes. And I think we're going to ask those same questions.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
So why don't we go ahead and, Graham, thank you for sharing. You need to give us some comfort on granting an extension beyond, maybe you could start with, when did this,
Started
what year?
1996 is when they
Contract
No,
1999.
MEC. MEC as the contractor.
MEC started as January 1999 started the first portion.
So when that contract was for a BOT? Okay. So take us now,
So
20
then
years.
in 2018, prior to the expiration of the
20 years.
January 2019 20-year period, we came before the CCU and the BOC. Which basically says that parties have the right to amend the agreement. Parties. So it basically, instead of fighting for capitalized payments for the payment, because paid for it, turn it into an operating. They still, by the extension of the agreement, they still were in, still there in the plan. Nothing changed from that perspective, other than that we no longer capitalize.
We paid off the mortgage. We now own the plant.
So we now own it.
Right. But now we had to run it.
But now we're in an operating agreement.
Someone's
with
running our.
NBC.
Someone-
So at that point, we are now the owners. We
Yeah.
simply amended a contract without going out to bid.
We did. Because what the BOC's position was at the time, was they said that it was a broad right to amend. We go from bill operate transfer prior to that, and off our mortgage, if you will, operating agreement. Bill, the oil, the only thing that changed was we no longer paid capitalized payments.
That's the correct.
Now, we still allowed for part of that, allowed for projects as yes, one of which was even, DOC said we're not gonna approve the field conversion agreement now. Did say that those projects, you still have to come back to us. I mean, even though we gave a 5-year plan, now, you have to come back to us
And so, and then the new operating agreement had a finite timeline, or were there provisions for extension?
So the new agreement was actually just a 5-year extension. So what we're asking for now, another 5-year extension, but any extension, or any agreement is capped by 104, which says no agreement any way, shape, or form shall exceed 30 years. Or anything related to renewable energy, purchase power agreement, purpose operate, will operate, transfer at the cost 30 million or more. Our additional 5-year extension, 20 plus 5 plus 5 is 30 years.
Oh, so there was no new contract, that the contract was modified.
The contract was modified so that
Mutual consent.
by mutual consent of the parties, modified such that we would not make any. Those payments would drop out. Obviously, that we would still have very below and end projects for which they would receive.
And how much is that? How much is it fixed? Because I'm reading here, it's almost $8 million annually. I'm reading line 27 of page 2. Fixed O&M is estimated 7.9 million.
To rent.
And that includes the conversion to
That's probably the,
ultra low sulfur
yeah.
diesel.
no, it's-
Or is that?
Well, we've already converted, so they're still running the plant. It's just burning a different fuel now.
no, this is the fixed O&M and the variable. Yeah, this is not including CIPs.
Okay, that's
See,
on the second page, right?
Yeah, CIPs are, again, part of it is gonna be, we'll have to approve every year, depending on what needs to be done, just like we do the other machines, no?
So what other costs can we anticipate other than what we're looking at here?
Well, the only other cost is the machine, every time it runs, has cylinder oil. So that's always been, and in fact, that's part of the LEAC. They purchase it and just pass it straight through, no additional cost.
That's not part of the O&M? Or
No,
it is?
not part of this one. That's just part that has always been the same, no? And then, again, they reduced that from projected now, estimated now for 2023, 3 million to about 1.5, no? But the conversion, the 14 million does not include operating costs. That include an emulsifier component of about $1.2 million, which would have gone up if they did not convert this. But now the 3 million now will cover both and still save about $200,000 stuff. So really, the only cost that you're going to be seeing here is the typical cost that we've been paying year after year, except for a slight change on, which is also allowed in the contract for some inflationary costs on the fixed fee, fixed O&M, no, and fixed and variable O&M. That's all.
You mean over the course of the remaining 5 years?
Right. And
Okay.
I think I have it here, which shows that the current contract next here. So there's the fixed fee. That number is going to go from 7.38 to 7.73. That's about 182 variants, and then the variable O&M will go from 1493 to 154. So if you take the bottom line, that's the 9 for O&M. No, excluding the fuel and the emulsifier are actually on the LEAC provision. It's like a fuel component of the scenario. This is, they don't, that they have no what you call it. They don't make any margin at all on that one, and we can allow them.
It's like the lubricating oil.
Yeah, rather than to bid out or finance the right sources, no. So that, but this is the only is where they. So it's about 2.6%. So that's the only real cost component, and then CIP again.
That's our call, because it's our
Yeah,
unit.
it's just like the plan is. We just have to keep it reliable, and of course, have the spare parts and all of that. But we don't plan. the first part, for instance, where you're seeing those numbers, there was two components there. One was the conversion, plus also there was like we identified so many millions for recapitalization, meaning after 20 years, we want them to change this, this, and this so that they will last another 10 to 20 years. No, so that was it. But we don't need to do that anymore. Actually they only spend I think 9 million. Can you back up on there on the right side? That's the projects completed in the past 9 million out of the 17 million that originally was programmed to look at.
And then, John, I'm just thinking forward in 2030, right? We have PD 8 and 9, still got a lot of useful life. And I guess if I'm sense of it, and correct me if what we're doing the renewable pieces. We still have PD 8 and 9, right? We're gonna have Ukadu. We get in 2030. We kind of take a look at what do you do with PD 8 and 9. But one of the things I learned from you is it's only a 31-year-old generator at that point. We can run it a lot longer if it's needed, right? We already own it. It's just a matter of if we need it. We had a burp where this 41 meg sort of we couldn't work in today's scenario. And PD 8 and 9 really is sort of the backup to not having that 41 megs anyway. That we don't. The 41 was a bonus because you have PD 8 and 9. 2030, we're going to have more renewables. You're going to have Ukadu. It's going to run. We'll kind of have a better profile of who we are, and then we can decide what to do with PD 8 and 9. But it's only a 31-year-old generator. What's your sense of what do you think we're going to do with it in 2030 if the renewables are being behaving?
Remember, if you recall, I was planning. I had recommended at one time to retire PD 8 and 9 because of cost, to try, and that was if US EPA will allow us to continue burning RFO, right? But then when we went to them, they said, no, you have to convert. So now that we've made the conversion, now that we know what is...
Put $9 million in,
and all of that. There's another page here, if you look, where's the cost per kilowatt hours? If back off, no, maybe forward. Forward. There. Yeah, if you look, under 100, out of Sauber 123, the cost per kilowatt hour is 18 cents per kilowatt hour versus Cabros 31 versus the other 27 cents.
So it's still a healthy...
So even at a 20-30%, if we're still going to be utilizing it about that much, it's still going to be a healthy machine that you want. So you decide actually the time I'm thinking, you asked me when, I'm looking maybe about 3 years from now, you make a decision whether you want to keep it for the next 5 years. And I mean, if you keep it until longer period, because don't forget I'm sorry, I don't mean don't forget, but the other machines were put in 1993, all the combustion turbines, right? So they'll be, right now, they'll be getting to 40 years old. So it's really going to depend how much we can depend on the renewables and the full shifting battery as we go forward. But if the phase 4 coming in and those numbers are way up because the battery costs are high, and again, there's no way to find out until we go out to the market, right? Then the 16 cents, if you the 18 cents will still be cheaper. So whatever they're gonna have to beat that number. Or, and again, I'm just giving you a preliminary preview. We're gonna decide what level of renewable are we gonna buy it at, So it's gotta offset something, and what level will we say is acceptable as a hedge? When you hedge, you pay a little bit more, right? So that we don't go back up to the 30, 40 cents a kilowatt hour. So that may be something that, but again, I'm not ready for that tonight, right? But no, it could still play a role. But right now, it's certainly critical over the next 3 years. If you backed out to where those red and yellow, there, we don't have much capacity between now and in the red areas, no?
Yep.
And then the renewables, I start counting about 50% of them as firm. Starts to become yellow, and then after that you see all the things. So
When you'll be deciding in 2030 when you're still here. The rest of us will be hopefully gone by that point.
That's another question. If MEC wasn't around, who can do this? Can't tell us that.
no, I
I think
mean,
someone could do it. It's the price, it's how well they know the machine.
Well,
Those are the risks in
let me-
changing horses, right?
let me
Better the
go-
devil we know, right?
right
Or the
now,
Reno we know.
right now, I don't think that no matter what you do, you're gonna have to have a transition period because they have all the people, labor. They have all the support, BWSC, that make that conversion. They have all the spare parts people coming in, supply chains, no? So it's kind of, so, and again, I don't have, people are retiring. I used to have people that work 3 and 4. There's a few more, but, as we both know, it's a complicated process, and look at 3 and 4. I'm not sure it wasn't operated right or whatever, but for whatever reason, it's no longer with us, no? And so it's not just anybody. And I hear a lot of people there, we can do it. Yeah, I know we can do it. We can hire, but I just don't feel comfortable at all, especially putting our faith,
I have several questions.
putting our faith on, but, that would be. Yeah.
So, John, and Graham, the contract is a full 5 years. Is it a base plus 4 options?
Right now, it's still negotiable. No, I think we have to give them. The problem is having the manpower. No, so if you shorten it too far, then the manpower may wanna go away. No, so that's the key. But we could probably put a provision in there that say we'll relook at this in the 2nd or 3rd year, because conditions could change and we can renegotiate some more of that condition. No.
You mean like go base those base years off of what your capacity constraints that you show up
we can
years?
probably do a
Like a
3 and then
3-year
a 1
base?
and 1, or something like that. That's another option if the commission will want to do that. No?
I think that's smart, because then you, as you point out here, you start to have some additional capacity, and then if you really did need to, you could potentially bid it out to see if there's, not that the MEC people wouldn't bid again, but it would be competitive, right?
Yeah, that will be the time that we're going to bid this thing out, and it'll be around the 3rd year.
Yeah.
And then gives us time, then gives to whoever is going to. Then at that point, Commissioner Santos, then you can give the parties that are going to take over 6 months, 9 months, a year to take over, no? And get there and have a heavy bond associated with it so that they can, they don't compete. And then the point is, to me, at that point, is that the risks are less because you have Okudu power plant on the line. You have more renewables now. So the worst case at that point is that if they cannot run 8 and 9, we can rely on the other machines. Right now, we don't have Okudu. So we can't, that machine has to run. Otherwise, it costs us a lot of money. And secondly,
And it may be better to keep 8 and 9 running and retire some of the other machines.
that could be a decision.
And we'll know,
comes.
we'll have a better feel for it. So you'll have a good decision to make.
Okay, so 3-year base to 1-year option can work also. We just have to check
I
with.
think that's the way that I'd like to see it happen.
Okay, I have some real concerns. It started me thinking during the working session. So I apologize. I just talked to Graham before the meeting, and I wanted to make sure I had some information. Anyway, Graham, when was the effective date of the transfer of the plant from MEC to GPA? No, when was the date of the transfer? Okay.
That's when we stop paying the mortgage. We can pass that.
Okay, okay.
So when did you negotiate this additional,
This
and when would it go in effect?
order was done in advance of that date.
Okay. Let me tell you some of the concerns that I have. This was bid out as a build, operate, transfer, and there's a contract for build, operate, transfer. And I've told Graham today, earlier, I came up earlier and started talking to Graham, so, you know, I hadn't had the time to talk to anybody else. And so I asked Graham,
I asked him, when you have a build, operate, transfer, and the facility transfers, does that end the contract? In other words, if you say we're bidding out a build, operate, transfer, then they build it, they operate it, and then they transfer it to GPA. When they transfer it to GPA, the contract is gone.
Is it, or do you keep the operating side? I mean, that to me is a legal.
No,
it's
that's a
good
legal
It's a
question.
good question.
That's a legal question I
That's a
had,
good
and I
legal
asked
question.
Graham about that.
Can you keep
Because-
the operating part?
But
because
is the contract gone if it's modified? Because it sounds like the parties mutually agreed to continue the contract.
okay, so therefore, but you have to understand, it would have been better if they had, in my opinion,
Okay, and I'm not a lawyer,
but I would have preferred if they had done modification of the contract, amend the contract, but don't transfer the asset.
in other words, it's a build, operate, transfer. The transfer has not occurred, so the contract doesn't end.
But why wouldn't you transfer? We already own it. All we're doing is having someone run our generator for it. To me, the O kept going. The transfer was completed. We paid them off. We stopped paying the mortgage. But the O part of BOT was, we had the option, mutually agreed to, if those parties agreed, they had the option to say, okay, keep operating it, because we don't want to go hire operators. We don't want to hire a
Okay,
manager.
my concern.
So that was my
No.
interpretation. It's a good debate, Mr. Trout.
But
I'm
my
not disagreeing,
concern,
we're just sort of
My
how I
concern
look
is
at it.
that somebody doesn't come along and said, hey, how did you establish an operating contract? No, wait, Simon. When it's a build, operate, transfer, and once you transfer, doesn't that end the original contract? That's my concern. Now,
Well,
you know, if we're comfortable and with the lawyer, and the lawyer's saying there's not a problem here, that's the only, I just wanted to bring up my concern, so that everybody knows,
That's valid.
okay?
And just to confirm,
Graham?
this stood the PUC review and approval as well. So, are you concerned with that as well? Since it's-
I'll be honest with you, I'm concerned with that original approval that we gave and then sent it to the PUC. In my view of it, you have an agreement with somebody that said, build this plant for me, operate the plant for me, and then at a fixed time, transfer the plant to me. Now that becomes my plant.
Right.
Now, if I want somebody to continue to operate it, in my opinion, you should go out for a new contract, for a PMC contract. See, this is no longer a build, operate, transfer contract. This is a new PMC contract.
And you don't feel that the mutual agreement between the two parties that changed that agreement to what essentially is a PMC agreement is sufficient?
I don't think it addresses the original problem of what was the original bid. It was a bid for build, operate, transfer. It wasn't a bid for build, operate, transfer, and the ability to continue to operate.
But there is a clause that says they could amend that agreement.
They could amend, okay, they
Right,
can
so-
amend the contract.
So in your original agreement of in 1999, there was a clause that,
Said you
at least
could
personally,
amend-
I'm comfortable that it's broad enough. It's broad language. You're right, Mr. Chair, it's broad language, but it's broad enough and enough. And let's face it, since we exercised the first option, sure, every day we can get sued. If someone wants to sue us, they listen to this conversation, I want to sue, but since we exercised the first option, no one has yelled, you can't do it. And, I mean, if they want to yell,
Hey,
let them yell. He would have to defend, and his defense is, I've read this, my reading of section X, and someone can say you can't read it, and if that's the case, then we'll deal with it then. But To me, at this point, it's a risk issue. You're pointing out a risk, which I totally agree.
I
There
just
is a
wanted to
risk.
make sure
Yeah.
that I brought this to our attention.
Yeah.
And.
I think that's the
and-
same thing we all raised. That's why we said, hey, Graham, when you were saying on the other day at the
Yeah.
work, hey, we want to talk
I
about
want
this
to talk about
conversation.
it, and, so I
When
just
we were
want to
raising our
bring
hand,
this
that's
to
what
your
we were saying.
attention.
And we were agreeing with you.
And that's my one concern. Okay? Just as long as you
Valid,
guys,
valid concern.
just as long as you guys are all on board.
What did the PUC, in 2018, when you set the, what did they approve?
Good question.
That
Strong from, right?
the docket request was what?
The docket request was PD 89 contract extension with NBC.
For,
Very clear.
for
what we were doing.
operating P89.
Yeah, it would have to be for operating because we had already paid off the capital.
No, I understand this. I mean, again, I'm going back to what Jody was saying. Our original agreement was BOT. We've
Yeah,
completed.
they did the B,
BOT.
and then we did the T, paid them off. Now it's just the O is the question.
Right, it's the operating agreement, so if your opinion, Graham, is that we were allowed under the law to mutually agree, and we have comfort on that. Obviously, in your opinion, because the PUC will not defend us. Yeah.
No, and
And I don't expect it to.
nor would he expect him to, but in their thing, they did say, they said in section 32 of the ECA, and trying to amend the agreement by mutual agreement. The agreement in no manner places any restrictions on the parties regarding.
And I
the
guess the
power.
question that maybe Joe and I have is that the original agreement was BOT, we completed BOT, correct?
The original agreement is entitled an energy conversion agreement.
Again, it's semantics, right? It's just, I'm looking at a process, right? That, can it stand the test of law? I don't know. I don't know who's gonna come and say, I'm not in agreement with this. I'm sorry, I'm not in agreement with the decision you made, in 2018. But now we're looking back, right?
There was, other than not paying the capacity fee, everything else within the agreement continued, including even the setup of the fees, the reliability testing, the heat rate testing, nothing has changed within that. The fee went out, but then we asked them to recapitalize, meaning, but instead of them financing it, we paid for the recapitalization fees. They had to change out liners, all of that, to keep the machine running for, at
Painted
least.
the house, we fixed the door.
So that's the only thing that
That's what we did.
that was done, other than keeping the agreement going. Again, because for the same reasons then as they are today. No?
And who is the ALJ on that one? Is that was it still Fred?
A lawyer.
And Fred was the one that you're citing Fred's citation of the agreement? Is that part of the diligent board? Is that available on our documents? Could I
Yeah.
take 5 minutes to read it?
Yes. While you're, no, just real, okay.
Thank you.
session. Okay, on resolution, where are we?
2023, that's 10, Mr. Chair.
2309.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's 909.
23-09.
Did we make a motion to approve yet? Not yet. Or we want to table?
Yes, we
Okay.
made a
So,
motion
Mr.
to
Chairman, I
approve.
move that we table discussion on 2309 at this time until, and put it on the next month's agenda.
Second. No further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Okay. And then we have, you're going to give us the amendment, the actual amendment that was drafted, and you gave us the ECA or some of us?
You're going to give us one of these, everybody one of these, the PUC order and the amended,
Yeah.
the amended agreement.
Okay, I mean, I can resend the PUC order, but everybody has a copy, but I'll
I have the PUC order, but you can resend it all.
No, it's okay. I mean,
I'll
But-
send a copy of the original ECA, so just
ECA?
clarification, this is, the ECA is like 130 pages.
No,
I'm
no.
sending 44 pages.
Just the 4 to 4 pages where they signed off.
yeah. And PDF it. I don't need a piece of paper. I can read it.
Yeah, and this is the amended version, right, as well?
And then you're going to send,
Well, what they did is they just, amendment just says, we hereby amend sections A, B, and C.
Okay, that's what we want to see.
They don't restate the whole thing, they don't
Yeah,
say
yeah,
it again.
It's just what they changed.
Yeah, just
Yeah, 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 okay.
and, okay, because I need to see how they signed it.
Yeah. That's fair. So we've tabled it and we'll get the information. Perfect. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Okay, John, next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Resolution 2023-10. Again, this is the request, and as noted by the CFO, this is to adjust the power pole attachment rate. And again, John, if the attachment rate is such now that we can file with the PUC.
Yes, what we're asking for is approval to file with the PDC to increase the $6 per annum to $9 per pole attachment per annum. So it will be, currently they're paying about 50 cents per pole per month. So we want to increase it to 75 cents per pole per month, per attachment per month. And the way this thing is happened is the FCC made an order back in 2011, right after the original agreement with the PUC order, to change the formula so that the cable formula and the telecom formula merged more closer. So this is FCC is a federal regulation. So then they've published a formula how to calculate for the attachment. And the calculation cost was performed by utility service, financial services, but they're just more for calculation how to do it. And the numbers actually came from 2020 audited information, so you could just trace it back to the financial statement audited information.
So this is, is there a motion? Motion to approve. Motion, second, okay. John, any questions? I just had a simple question. So basically, this formula has already been approved by FCC?
Yes, it is approved by
And-
FCC
and
back in
that's the
2011.
formula you're utilizing to determine the new rate?
Yes.
Okay. That's the only question I had.
And that updated formula, John, was since 2015. We're just now
Oh, yeah.
updating our fee structure.
Yes.
Do we get retroactive?
Well, we do have to do truth in billing procedure where PUC will probably order us, and the telecom or the cable company will come.
Oh, so you still need to go to the PUC for this?
Yes.
Okay. No.
It's a rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
You know.
Hey, every little bit helps. We need help.
Inflation, COVID.
No, just the
Donald.
cost. Okay, any further questions? No? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Last resolution 2023-11. Again, this is to request your authorization to procure property insurance for FY 2024 to 2026. Again, going to the PUC for approval. Property insurance, including boiler and machinery coverage and terrorism coverage, would expire on November 1st, 2023. This is a multi-step bid. And again, we're looking for a 3-year base period with 2 additional 1-year extensions, similar as to the past procurements. So again, with your approval, we'll proceed to the PUC. With their approval, then we will issue the bid and try to get this done by sometime after the summer or in the summer, because again, this is to be effective November 1st, 2023. Yeah?
Commissioner Sanchez.
Move to approve resolution 2023-11, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, second. Any further discussion? Any other questions? No?
Just wanna be
Commissioner
clear.
Santos.
John K. Yeah. Similar to what I just read in your multi-step bid, you're gonna require the broker to do this, right?
The way we did it was either a broker or underwriter can bid.
Excuse me?
No.
Okay.
Say it again.
Say that again?
So we made a kind of range, right?
Wait.
Yes.
For this particular one or the one I just read over there? On the pollution insurance?
Both of them the same. Either broker can come in and bid, or underwriter can directly come bid. But
So what are you asking on this particular resolution?
Just to allow them to move
yeah,
forward.
for us to procure the
Just so they can issue
multi-property.
the bid.
Issue the
What's the difference
solicitation.
on that pollution insurance?
On that one, when the bidder came in and bid, it was a broker who came and bid. Yeah.
Why the difference? Why couldn't you just use the broker?
What you could do, use a broker. We could say,
John,
Yeah.
why, you're the one making the decision.
yes.
Why the difference now?
No, it's the same bid. It's
So-
just we are
so
allowing
the broker,
him
why,
bid.
why an underwriter? Why didn't, you just told me earlier that, I know you couldn't do that, you're just saying now you can.
Yeah, on this one, yes. I mean,
Insurance is insurance, John.
Yeah,
Don't-
yes,
don't try to
yes.
escape it.
but I was just asking you if I can go directly to underwriters.
Yes. And you are,
Yes, I
but
will.
why didn't you do it on that particular one?
It's the same format. It's
Not the same format, because you're not saying to me in this one that you want to use broker services in that particular bid.
Yeah.
Once they bring it back to me, it says broker services and pollution insurance. It say 4. I just want clarity when this particular resolution is gonna be approved. What exactly, are you gonna utilize a broker? Or what is your request to the city? To be clear.
yes. On the format, what we did on the format on that bid, we did put in a broker services to help us with like claims. Like it's supposed to be claims and also marketing informations. So it could be a broker or underwriter to provide that information. We didn't say you only have to be a broker
Who's the current underwriter?
for.
The current,
So they have right now the broker is AM Insurance.
and who's the underwriter?
Its underwriter is through Marsh, which they also go to the market on the London.
So
There's
we're paying basically for 2 brokers.
pretty much yes.
Why would you wanna do that?
No, because we're only interfacing with the company here. So right now it's AM Insurance doing the brokering.
Who pays Marsh?
Who Marsh? Right now the payment, the front of the company, because in Guam they said you can't go directly unless there's an insurance company in Guam. So the fronting company is actually DB Insurance. Yes.
Represented by the broker.
Yeah, so the broker represents DB, and DB is a front, which what they do is the DB is the reinsurer, the reinsure.
Not the there cannot be a reinsurance company and an insurance company at the same time.
Yeah, yes. So DB is the insurance company, pretty much, but
What percentage do they carry?
I don't know what percent.
Okay,
I mean,
so John,
wait.
I'm not opposing this, you just confused me
Yeah.
when I read that bid that you just did.
Yes.
You said broker services and pollution insurance. You're gonna ask in this particular resolution that you're gonna ask to do brokers to use our broker to go out and procure this particular policy, correct?
Yes, they can. The broker is a broker can bid on this stuff, but what the service requiring them to do is like do marketing information updates, and or if there's claims, they can help us with those. Those are kind of service we're asking for the whoever's bidding. So I guess you're looking for asking me is, are they doing a broker services? Would they go in and ask multiple companies, say, please give us your information, then we give us a summary, and so from there we will decide one number. That's a broker services, and that's not the what the intent of the bid we're doing.
Why did you do it on that particular one for pollution insurance?
Oh,
What's the difference?
on that pollution insurance, we did not do a broker service per se, like the way we traditionally say. You have, they call it, what they call it, broker, they call it broker, got that term.
Do we save money, John, doing that, or what?
Does it cost us more?
Does it cost us more? It's the way you want to do it.
No,
Yeah.
John, I'm not worried about the way you want to do it. Are we gonna save money? Which way are we gonna save money?
I think the way we're doing right now probably saves us more
You
money.
can't be, because you're gonna pay two brokers. You just told me Marsh is underneath this too.
Yes. So the way they usually have a certain percentage. They get,
John,
yes.
yeah, don't try to educate me on this.
Yes.
You're not gonna do that. I wanna know, this, when this agreement comes out, who is gonna be the lead on this?
Currently, right now, the lead is DB Insurance.
Okay,
Yeah, they're pretty much the lead.
That's by the current policy.
Yes,
But you're putting this out for solicitation.
yes. When it is
So-
a solicitation, they'll come out
It
with
could be anybody at that point.
yeah, pretty much anybody. So that's why we're making it as flexible as how you want to format it and come in, because we don't want to restrict it.
Yeah, I don't think the solicitation's restricted to broker or a direct. There's no restriction on the
but we have a
solicitation.
broker.
No, any broker could bid on it.
I'm sorry, we have a current arrangement for broker services, sir.
You're talking about
we have a
a
contract?
separate,
Yes.
We have a
separate
contract with them?
insurance.
Right?
Do we have a
Insurance
contract?
is our broker, correct?
Yes,
No,
there are.
there-
Well, it's the way they.
No. The first question is,
Yes.
our current broker services arrangement is with AM Insurance.
Yes, for property. Yes.
Yes,
Yes, for property.
Okay.
Yes.
But it's
But
not
their
a-
contract expires in November.
agreed.
Yes.
So,
But this is just the existing policy, right? They were the successful bidder on the existing policy.
Yes.
And it was bid by a broker
Yes.
who had underwriters.
Yes.
But this solicitation you're going out for now doesn't restrict it
No, it
to
does
just
not.
a broker.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We
So,
open
but we
it to
don't have
everybody
separate
to
broker
bid.
services. Just that AM Insurance was a successful awardee on the current policies. Right. But we don't have a separate broker services
so why the
contract.
change? What advantage are we gonna have?
There is no change. That's
There
what
is
he's
no
saying.
change.
No, I mean, in this particular solicitation, you're just gonna open it up to everybody again?
Yes, we are open. Yes.
But that wasn't any different in the last solicitation.
No, it's the same.
It's just that AM got awarded it and they were a broker. But it's the same exact. There's no change. I don't.
And it's
Yeah.
expiring, so we need to put out a bid.
So, don't move bids. The insurance underwriter can bid?
Yes.
That's the intention.
That's the intention. Yes. So that's what we do want to restrict it to brokers or specific areas. Is whoever is capable of coming in is bid.
So Dungbo could have bid directly. They didn't
Yes.
have to bid through AM Insurance. They could have submitted a bid with AM Insurance and they could have competed on it.
Yes, they can.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's nothing And this solicitation that you're putting out isn't any different than the last one that was awarded to AM Insurance, right?
Yes, it hasn't changed.
So it'll be open competition to brokers and underwriters and
Yes.
everything.
Or the way you team up is up to you, because before they had some other different
Sure,
brokers
yeah.
combining together to get bigger market.
They take a percentage of the risk, right? They
Yes.
kind of split it up if they
Yes.
wanted to, yeah.
It's and this is no different from like getting a loan, because you have one bank like Mitsui have a syndicate, and they go to different bank locally and also internationally to combine as one. Because 20 million is a big risk, so they usually kind of divvy it up.
Does that answer your question, Commissioner? Because it sounds like was there another bid that was written differently?
It says poker services.
Broker services.
It should, I
Am I
guess,
reading that wrong, Tracy?
I-
Yeah. Well, what's the RFP gonna look like? We can see the RFP? No, we can't, not now, I'm just, I mean.
Check it out.
yeah, I guess,
I'm good, Mr. Chairman, yeah, I just
Check it out.
wanted
Check
to make
Check it out.
clarity.
Yeah.
And I just,
Anybody can come in, right?
Yes, that's a plan. That's the whole. That's why it's written. And this went. A whole RFP went to a risk manager, Bolton, to review and to make sure it's open for everybody to compete.
so we do have a risk manager. We have a contract with a risk manager
Yes, we
who
do.
gives you advice
Yes.
in going out for RFPs.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that was just the major concern, is just to make sure it was open competition. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So do we have a motion on this one? Yeah, we need a motion for this resolution. Commissioner Sanchez.
I move to approve resolution FY 2023-11 relative to authorizing GPA to procure property insurance for fiscal years 24 through 26.
Second? Any further discussion? No? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries with four aye votes. Anything else? That's it?
That's it, Mr. Chair.
5 minutes.
Unless you want me to go through my GM report, but
Yes.
it's available.
Just so I'm clear, I was able to hear your GM report. You just couldn't hear me ask questions about
Oh,
it.
okay. All right, that was.
We were questioning
No,
many of your.
I won't say that was good, but
We were questioning many of your statements, but now we feel better.
All right. Thank you very much, Commissioners.
Are you going straight into executive session, or do you
Is
need
that okay?
or do you need a 5-minute recess?
No, because I gotta go. But I mean, if we can, I mean.
Okay. Okay, you have the date, right? Okay,
Somebody has a calendar, we need somebody with a calendar. And you got a calendar? It's the the Thursday before the 19th. John leaves on the 19th.
okay,
He asked for it to be Friday, I'm saying no, let's make it Thursday.
okay.
So we
Thursday,
need that date.
and so with that,
Thursday, February 17th.
okay, Thursday, February 17th,
I'm sorry,
16th,
Okay,
and then we'll have the work sessions the week before? Can we do that? Everybody?
that's fine.
Okay. Yes,
But we can have it,
Before the same week.
yeah, we can have it the same week.
the 16th is the meeting,
15.
14 and 15. We'll do it 14 and
Wait, on a
15.
Wednesday?
Yeah. Monday and Tuesday?
Can we do them both? Can we do them both on the 14th?
Why don't we do them both on the 14th? Okay? Boom, boom.
Oh,
Yeah.
happy Valentine's Day.
Okay, wait, wait.
Tuesday, it's not a Wednesday.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about Valentine's. I'm
No, no, she's golfing. What time? Valentine's Day is 14th, right?
But it's back-to-back
Yeah, I-
meetings, so we'll be here from 8 to 12.
Yeah.
Just as long as
Okay.
at Wednesday at
Okay,
noon, I'm with my other Valentine.
Everybody ready? We're back in open session.
They're much cheaper than my real Valentine.
Commissioner Sanchez, you wanted to make a motion?
I moved that to,
For
the
next month,
meeting for the
February.
CCU would be in February on
Thursday, February.
Thursday.
No, no. The meeting would be on Thursday, February
Thursday,
16th,
February 16th.
and the working
And
sessions.
what time would you like that? The 5:30 again?
5:30. 5:30.
At 5:30.
And the working sessions will be
And the
on
chairman
Tuesday.
schedule?
Okay.
Right, 'cause you
I'll
don't need
I'll
a-
schedule it for Tuesday, the 14th. 8:30 in the
just-
morning, back to back. Okay? Everybody fine? Motion to adjourn.
Oh, did we need to approve the? I made a motion to change the meeting to that date.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's right. Second? All those in favor, say, signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, nay, motion carries. We're adjourned now. Now we're adjourned. Anyway.